Alright, everyone, I am back. Boy, that was a long queue. Almost half an hour I had to wait for groups so I could be able to do that. But we pulled it off, went through Black Rook Hold, and we have it. However, there's something else I want to show you. Something that I got from the tablet when we went into the Maw of Souls. This is an etching, a partial story of the Raven's Eye creation myth and how it came to be in the hands of Lord Kurtalos Ravencrest. Forgive me if I mispronounce some of these names. This is usually the case with some Warcraft names. Hugwyn and Munin perched on a branch overlooking their master. The big Vrykul sat relaxed below eating a particularly lush plum while reading from ancient tablets. The juice The juice from the fruit went drip, drip upon the stone as one turned to the other and cawed. "What does it say? What is he reading?" asked Munin. Hugin bobbed his head up and down, peering intently with one eye at the stone below. "I cannot read," the large raven exclaimed. "You know this. Why do you taunt me?" Hugin pecked in frustration at his companion. Munin defecated, missing the Vrykul below by mere inches. "We should get him to fashion us something. An eye! Gah!" Munin insisted. Hugin agreed with his own cause. The Vrykul peered up at the two ravens whom only he could understand. "If you two will give me some peace, I will make you something that will let you read anything your little bird brains desire," Javi said. "Now be quiet." Time passed, but differently for the ravens as it does for all immortals. They spent centuries reading everything they could get their hands on, through the lens of their precious Raven's Eye. Countless days were spent deciphering old, weather-worn runic carvings in languages long since dead. They were happy. Well, as happy as ravens can be, which is to say, no one believes that they can ever truly be happy. Not even ravens. Then the day came when the stranger arrived. An elf, one of those new Kaldori, the night elves as everyone else was referring to them. The little people were always so much more annoying than the Vrykul, but somehow this one was different, and he had something in his hand that was the sweetest-smelling thing they had ever experienced. "What is that you have there, my fine feathered friends?" the bearded Kaldori asked. "Gah!" was the reply that he received, as only their master could understand them. But the power of the Raven's Eye allowed them to understand him perfectly. They had long ago learned all of the languages of the small mortal races. "The three of us share something in common, for my name is Ravencrest, you might say. We are kin after a fashion," the night elf explained, his voice strangely soothing. "May I try to read that tablet? It looks awfully interesting." And with that, the elf slowly edged a little closer to see the runes written upon the stone. Hugin and Munin were transfixed by the smell of whatever mysterious delight this Ravencrest held in his closed fist. Their heads bobbed up and down uncontrollably to try and get just the slightest peek at what it might be. They let him move closer. What danger could a mere elf pose? The night elf's brow furrowed, and he frowned. He was staring at the tablet that the ravens had been reading. A funny story about a stupid little boy and a girl who were tricked by a clever Vrykul witch and then eaten. "Alas, I cannot read this. I do not know the ancient runes of the honorable and proud Vrykul people," the Ravencrest confessed. He sighed loudly, and his shoulders slumped. "I know that ravens are the smartest of all Azeroth's creatures, but how is it that the two of you can read this time-worn scrawl?" he coyly asked. Munin, ever the suspicious one, pierced the stranger with a look from this left eye, only darting a quick glance once or twice, perhaps 3 times, at the elf's closed hand to make certain that whatever was in there had not disappeared. But before the doubtful bird could stop him, his more trusting brother gave their secret away. Hugin rapped 3 times upon their most prized possession. Despite the sharpness of the raven's beak, no scratch marred the facets of the perfect magical jewel. "Oh, how wonderful! Are you saying that bauble allows you to read the stone?" the sly elf queried. The 2 birds sat staring at him, their chests puffing up and their hackles rising. "No, no, friends, you mistake me. I only wish to borrow your jewel. Please, let me use it to read the runes," the elf requested. "After, we can all have a lively discussion about whatever story is written upon the stone. In return, I will give you this." The Ravencrest finally revealed what he had been concealing within his hand. To the ravens, it was perhaps the most amazing thing they had ever seen or smelled, second only to Javi's jewel. Slowly, the Kaldorei placed the hard piece of elven candy on a nearby rock. The ravens twisted their heads back and forth between the jewel, the elf, and the treat. But it was not long before their nature overtook them and they hopped over to the rock. The candy was delicious, better than anything that they had ever eaten. The food of the gods within... Even the food of the gods within the halls of valor. They pecked and nibbled at the pieces for what seemed a heavenly age. When they were done, the two looked up expectantly, hoping that their newfound friend had another piece of the sweet, but the elf was nowhere to be seen, and neither was the raven's eye. Hugin and Moonin cawed as loud as they could, and as they took wing, they vowed a solemn oath to one day have their revenge upon the trickster elf and all of his kind. Belira, I'm back.
I wouldn't cross me if I were you.
Were you successful? Do you have the raven's eye? The flawless perfection of the jewel is matched only by its potential usefulness to the uncrowned.
Farewell.
We have it. Finally, we will be able to crack SI7's coded letter.
Without a trace.
We have the raven's eye. Use it. Decipher the letter. We must know what secret it contains.
I'll use the raven's eye. Decipher the code in the SI7 letter.
Here we go.
We were on the Broken Shore mere hours before the Alliance and Horde fleets arrived. Matthias Shaw led our SI-7 team on a secret recon of the island. We were awaiting extraction.
Our evac is almost here. We have to warn the Alliance and Horde. They must turn their fleets around. The Broken Shore is a death trap. Anything, Lieutenant?
The island is crawling with demons. Far more than we anticipate.
So, you have uncovered our little secret. Let me assure you, your precious fleets will fall into our trap.
You'll never get away with it, Death Rock!
Oh, but I will. And you, Matthias Shaw, will help us to do it. Now I am the leader of SI-7.
Damn.
Yep. So, I hope you've been paying attention as we've been doing some of the other stuff, including, I hope you also saw the videos I showed of us getting the weapons for the rogue. Because, especially when we went after these ones, the Kingslayers for assassination, remember, we were confronted at the front gates of Stormwind by Matthias Shaw. And he was not really polite or cordial with us, and he usually is. But he wasn't that time. And now it makes sense, doesn't it? Also, think back to the fact that there was a letter sent to those Buccaneers basically saying, yeah, you do this and I'll give you a free pass. Which we know Shaw would never do. Now that we know that it's actually been a Dreadlord this entire time, it makes sense, the strange behavior by Shaw. But it also means something else, and this is why this Order Hall story is so important. They did discover that it was a trap, the Broken Shore. But they were not able to warn the Alliance and Horde about it. So, them finding out, as in Deathrock and his forces, that Shaw found out and prevented him from doing so, is what led to the Broken Shore event at the beginning of this expansion, which also led to the perception that the Horde actually betrayed the Alliance, which we know for a fact did not happen. And you can't help but wonder if that could have been prevented had Shaw been able to actually warn us and tell us to not show up there. You know? Which possibly could have ended up maybe preventing BFA from happening. You know, just one little thing could have actually changed things that happened later on. All because Deathrock was able to stop Shaw from warning us that it was a trap.
What's the situation?
Oh, that's the thing for the secret appearance. Ignore that.
Silent and
I must
deadly.
admit, I was not expecting that. Matthias Shaw taken prisoner by the Legion? That at least explains all the strange actions that SI-7 has been taking lately. They have a Dreadlord in charge of them.
Be wary. Keep your eyes keen.
Master Matthias Shaw is the leader of the Alliance intelligence organization known as SI-7, and apparently he is now a Dreadlord. Or rather, a very clever Dreadlord has taken his place while he is being held captive somewhere. It's imperative that we reveal this impostor to the new King of Stormwind. If we fail to do so, then the Alliance will surely be eaten alive from within, and the Burning Legion will win this war for a certainty.
We must find Matthias Shaw and use him to prove that Deatherrock has taken his place. Be wary.
In a very real sense, the uncrowned are gardeners. We snip and trim here and there. One clipping of a single branch may seem nonsensical until you step back and look at the garden as a whole. On the greater thread of the Broken Isles, we must act decisively. The forces that arrayed against Azeroth are moving quickly. We need to prune some very ugly flowers to make our garden beautiful again. Wouldn't you agree? That's the 10 world
Keep
quest.
your eyes keen.
Quest that I gotta
My
do.
loyalties are.
And now we
my
gain Valera as a follower, as a champion. Of course I'll serve as your champion. In for a copper, in for a gold, as they say. We work well together. I bring out the best in you.
They'll never see me coming.
So yeah, now we get to kind of one of the boring parts before I can actually continue and wrap up this story, which is now I have to go around and do 10 world quests, but I also have to do several of these quests here on the board in order for us to actually find where Shaw is so we can actually go and save him. So, where in the world is Matthias Shaw? Get it? Where in the world? Yeah, you know it is.
We operate
Anyways.
where others cannot.
Huh. That's right, I have to, Who do I deactivate? You know what, Noggin Fogger? I love you, but, you're probably more comfortable just hanging out here amongst all your money. So, yeah.
I serve.
My
no
loyalties
one.
are
We
my own.
operate where others cannot.
Anyways. So yeah, now I have to go ahead and cut off again and do some more busy off-camera work, because obviously I have to go do the 10 world quests and wait for all these board missions to finish. So I'm going to go do some world quests, and when we come back, we will try to not only save Matthias Shaw, but then also wrap up the Rogue Order Hall storyline. And hopefully I don't hit level 50 and prevent it from happening. That's the only thing I'm concerned about, is that I may actually get sent out of here by the time I get to level 50, and it's like, nope, you gotta leave. But anyways, I'll try and figure that out either way, even if that does happen. Stay tuned.